Oh, I have to go. I
Yeah,
have to say thanks. So welcome. This is a special edition of the normal game that we have, and it is Blades in the Dark, with which I don't think I've played once. I've played a couple of times. I've run the game. Ryan, you've played once,
no,
and the
no, I've listened
no,
to it played
you've
once.
listened to it played once, and the rest of you have no idea what you're doing, which is perfect because that will mean that you don't have weird ideas about what this game is. Um, So, and I'm not trying to unpick another Game Master's uh, correct or incorrect rulings, because that's always a fun little thing. Um, did you guys? So, how much of the PDF did you guys have a chance to kind of read through?
I skimmed through all of it.
Cool.
I, um, I read the first, was it 2 pages, a little bit more carefully, and then I just skimmed over the character sheets.
Fine.
Yeah, exactly the same.
Cool.
Uh, Ditto. I read how you build dice pools and how what rolling actually means, and then I had I looked at the character sheets, but then after that, yeah, it was very much a skim through.
It's a really simple system. Essentially, what you do is anytime you have a challenge, basically anytime a decision is in jeopardy or anytime that you could potentially have conflict, the player, not me, say, I want to roll X. So this is very different from D&D where the DM asks for a roll. It's the other way around. The players all ask. They say, I want to use Hunt to do this, or I want to do this thing, and I think this qualifies for whichever attribute it might be. In the case where there is a failure, so all right, I'll go back a bit. To succeed on a roll, you roll a number of d6, depending on how many pips you have in whatever attribute. So if you have 2 pips in Hunt, you roll 2d6, and then you can gain more dice by doing a couple of different things. You can gain a dice by your crew helping you. If your crew helps you, they take 1 stress, or you can push yourself to gain 2 stress, and you can add a dice as well. So you can effectively, in any situation, most of the time you're gaining at the maximum 2 extra dice. So usually to a maximum of about 4d6. A failure is 1 to 3. A success with setbacks is 4 and 5, and a pure success is a 6. You can also get a critical success, which is 2 6s or more. And that's basically it. That everything else is beyond that. In the case where you have a failure and something happens that you want to avoid, you roll. You basically try and resist the effect of that thing. And the way you resist it is you roll the stat that you're resisting. So not the various skills like Hunt, Study, or Survey. You roll the insight above it, and that is calculated by how many pips you have in the first column of that stat. So if you say for if you want to resist, say on Insight, and you have Hunt, Study, and Survey, you have 3 dice to roll. And basically, when you resist, you take a number of stress minus your roll. So 6 minus whatever the roll is. So in the case that you roll a 6, it's better than that. You regain 1 stress. So it basically incentivizes both specialization and breadth. So both are good in different ways. So it's really interesting kind of like dynamic systems. Like, do I put all my points in one skill to make it really good? But then if you have no points in, say, resolve at all or prowess, and something comes up, say you're in a brawl, right? And you lose the roll, but you have no points in any of those stats, and you lose the roll, your ability to resist the bad effects from that are severely hampered. By the way, you can always roll, even if you have no points in it. But if you have no points in it, you roll 2d6 and take the lowest. So the odds of you failing go up significantly. But you could still add dice to that via stress and the other mechanics that exist.
If you are rolling more, do you still always take the lowest?
No. You basically go up like a point and then you roll. So if you're at 0, you take away 1 dice. Now you have roll 1d6, whatever, and then just as normal. And that way, so So stress becomes a useful thing to use, but getting too much of it, you end up with traumas. And you can see the traumas listed on the right, on the next to the trauma column in your character sheets: cold, paranoid, unstable, reckless, haunted, obsessed, soft, and vicious. However, the way this system works is that the more you play into your character, the more experience you get. You get experience for doing stuff, not for killing things, not for any of the like usual experience modifiers or anything like that. So say you did, the big thing you do is your character class will have a requirement for its XP. It's like, do this thing and get XP, depending on which character class you are. If you do reckless actions, so you do something that I deem like, because it's like discussion, it's like, what kind of like challenge rating is this? Is this like standard? Is this like easy, or is this reckless? And if it's reckless, you get experience in that category to help yourself get stronger. The more reckless stuff you do, the more XP you get. So it incentivizes you guys to do stupid things.
Hey.
Love it.
Essentially. I think that's most of the basics. There are abilities that change certain things that allow you to do special actions and get you extra little bonus points, but we'll go into with it when we go through character creation. So I want to describe the setting so you kind of get a feel for what this place is. The game takes place in the cold, foggy city of Duskfall. It's industrial in its development. Imagine kind of a world like ours during the second industrial revolution of the 1870s. There are trains, steamboats, printing presses, simple electrical technology, carriages, and the black smog of chimney smoke everywhere. Duskfall is something like a mashup of Venice, London, and Prague. It's crowded with row houses, twisting streets, and crisscrossed with hundreds of little waterways and bridges. The city is also a fantasy. The world is a perpetual darkness haunted by ghosts, a result of the cataclysm that shattered the sun and broke the gates of death 1,000 years ago. The city's empire is encircled by crackling lightning towers to keep out the vengeful spirits and twisted horrors of the Deathlands. To power these massive barriers, the titanic metal ships of the Leviathan hunters are sent from Duskfall to extract ectoplasmic blood from massive demonic terrors upon the ink-dark Void Sea. You're in a haunted Victorian-era city trapped inside a wall of lightning powered by demon blood. Is a single sentence to describe this setting.
I'm into it.
It's a very cool setting. So, characters. How would you do character creation? The first thing we need to do, I think, before we do character creation, we need to do crew creation. What do you want your crew to be? Like, what kind of crew do you want? The choices for your where is that list?
Oh. Yes, I remember.
It's the type of crew you want to be.
Is that like the smugglers, the shadows, the hawkers, the cult?
Correct.
Bravos?
1 second, sorry.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
So, what's our at the vaguest possible level? What's our sort of job like? So, are we a crew? Like, is the idea that we're working on one of these massive boats to go out, or
you are? Well, you could have been before, but now you're a new crew within Duskfall. You are here to make money. You've come from different places. You've come from different areas of the city, and you've decided, you've thrown off the trappings of your old life and decided to enter into the gangs of the gang warfare. Basically, you've decided you're just not making enough money in other areas.
God,
so you want to do something that earns you coin, and that's basically how like all things. Coin is actually a mechanical term as well. Coin is like a ton of, is a sack of money, essentially. But your crew can specialize in various things. You can be assassins. You can be basically a bunch of like just mercenaries and thugs. You can be dealers, like drug dealers. You can be a cult, and you could be thieves. So the shadows, basically, thieves and spies. or smugglers. You could move contraband, and it's up to you entirely as to which you pick
Oh, okay.
So have you got
I mean-
an adventure already prepped
for anything.
for anything? Mm.
Essentially, this is very improv heavy, so I can just once you pick a thing, I'll go. I've got like a starting point, and then that starting point gives you a different methods for what you want to do and how you want to go about it, and how you get to the end.
Okey-dokey.
Well, I like the idea of shadows.
Which one's shadow?
Thieves,
thieves.
spies, and saboteurs.
Okay.
That one's very Dishonored, but also I think that suits well heists, and I like heists.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
I'm happy with that. I also like the idea of a cult, but I might want to understand a little bit more of the lore first.
Cult and Shadows would have been my two picks, so
Yeah,
I'm happy with that.
I'm also happy with Cult, but if we do that, I'm dialing up the crazy.
Oh yeah. Sorry, can there be a cult that isn't crazy? I mean,
I mean, sure, but maybe not. Who knows?
does it only exist in a hypothetical sense?
Yeah, like there could be a non-crazy cult, but we haven't seen
That
it
wouldn't be
yet.
any fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're called the cult of reason, except they're in the world of madness, so they are the ones that are truly mad.
Praise rationality, praise logic.
Da, 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 da. Yeah, I like either. Okay, so you've narrowed them down to two. That's good.
I'm just having a skim of the special abilities.
Yeah, ditto.
Like Cult is
Yeah.
useful against supernatural things.
True. You may not encounter
Oh,
those. You may do.
We are because presumably we are in service to the supernatural. We are merely
Praise off-brand Cthulhu.
yeah.
Maybe Cthulhu waits in the deep.
Yeah.
The waters of around Duskfall and around in this world are filled with stars that you navigate by, and occasionally these stars move. It's very rare. Most
Isn't
of them
it also
are-
like an inky black water as well? So you
Yeah.
can't see anything except
It looks-
the stars.
Yeah,
Has
it
anyone
look-
ever gone diving into the water?
Perhaps they have, but none have come back.
Okay. I assumed that would be the answer, but
Maybe a Leviathan hunter knows, like, because most of the lore of the world is left for the players and the GM to decide together.
cool.
So, if you want to be a Leviathan hunter who's gone out there and maybe dove into the waters and saw something they didn't like, or saw something they did, and came back and gone,
Oh my god.
let's
yeah.
spread the word of this.
We
That'd
we
be,
looked. I like that idea, but it can go two ways. We looked into the eyes of something that blinked back, and we either started worshipping it, or we went, "Nope, I'm going to take a career in stealing things on land."
as far inland as I can get. Yeah.
Action in the North Atlantic, the old war film. I'm going to put an oar on my shoulder and walk inland till someone says, "What's that on your shoulder?"
Right, sorry, back.
I kind of feel like we're leaning towards Cult a little bit now.
Sure.
I
Okay.
was building it up towards either, but
I mean, it's either way it's possible. It's up to you. It's
Shall
the
we-
way-
I quite like the gambler subset. So unless anyone objects, I am going to roll a dice, and the dice shall decide whether we're cult or shadow.
That works for me.
Yeah?
Let's go even for shadows and odd for cult. It is even.
We are shadows then.
Yes.
All right. Very cool. So you are a group of shadows. You are specialized in stealing and information gathering, spies, and things of that nature. You are currently tier 0 with a stronghold rep of 0. But you do have 2 coin in your bank, which you can use in various ways. Coin is an arbitrary measurement. It's like a sack of coin. Most things, in terms of like if you're trying to bribe somebody, we don't use coin. If you're trying to say like hire somebody, for instance, like trying to hire a gondola or something big, then you use spend coin. Most of the time, it's just you just I'm going to try to bribe it and use a different roll for that. So don't worry too much about that. So, in terms of your initial reputations, because that's an important thing that happens in the world of Blades in the Dark, reputation matters a lot. So, I'm going to start you off in the Crow's Foot. It's kind of the middle ground area. It's where many different factions reside, and many different factions have gotten their start. There are 4 current factions that you need to concern yourself directly with: the Lamp Blacks, the Red Sashes, the Crows, and the Blue Coats. Now, most of you would have come into contact with the Blue Coats at one point or another. They're basically the police. They wouldn't walk around and they cause trouble for anyone trying to make a buck in Duskfall. Now, the other 3 are gangs. Now, Crow's Foot is... The Blue Coats like to think they have some kind of hold. They don't. The Crows are the ones who run that, although that's currently changing. Their leader was recently killed, and there's a bit of mystery as to who actually killed their leader. Some people say the lieutenant, who is now the current leader of the Crows, a woman, I forget what her name is, but she is the one who may have done the deed and finished him off. But that has led to a series of instability, and the Lamp Blacks and the Red Sashes are both trying to see if they can increase their foothold in the area. Now, of those 4 factions that matter, the Blue Coats, they don't like you because you're criminals. As a fact, they just don't like you. As for the other 3, I'm going to set the Crows as neutral. They don't care. You're too small for them to worry about right now. However, the Lamp Blacks and the Red Sashes, they are a bit more mobile in terms of they look out for new people. So one of them will say is a positive. They like you, or they at least have some kind of a positive outlook on you for something one of you possibly did as a character. And the reverse of that is the other one doesn't like you for something one of your characters did. Which is a good kind of segue into character creation, which is nice. It is actually relatively easy. So the first thing you need to do is to choose a playbook. What kind of character you want to play. Does anyone have any thoughts?
I've come up with a concept for a whisper.
Ooh, okay.
Just as we were talking here, I found some artwork to use for a character.
Fair enough.
And it's just making me think of a guy who smokes a long pipe and uses the smoke from the pipe to give these reveal ghosts and give forms and kind of things.
Okay. So you've got your playbooks as Whisper. The next thing you need to do is choose a heritage. Where you started out is. So if you click the heritage button, it will show you the various one, and you can click the question mark. It'll tell you where the various are. But essentially, it's Orkoros, which is the largest, most industrial land in the Imperium. It's basically like a big industrial hub. The next one is Aruvia, which is you want to be considered foreign. So think like Arabia, that kind of classical style, Persia, Egypt, India, those kind of places. If you want to kind of like make a comparison. If you want to be considered from wild, you could be from Severos. This is places far, far removed. Nomadic horse tribes, so think Mongolia and Russia, those kinds of places. Skovlin, if you want to be from like a marginalized people, so island kingdoms. And there's kind of a lot of... So probably something like Indonesia, even Japan would probably qualify in this area. The Dagger Isles, so just a wanderer. You don't really have a home and you just kind of move around. Then there's Tykaros, a slightly demonic telltales. So think like your tieflings, but less extreme. Things like black shark eyes, feathers instead of hair. Anything you want. Your imagination is the key here. So, and heritage is good. Anyone have any other ideas on playbook?
Also, if someone else wants to be a whisper, then I'm happy to try and swap to something else.
No, I'm actually looking at leech.
Ooh,
I was
leech.
torn between leech and spider, but I think for this one, I would have gone spider if we were cult and leech if we were shadows.
That's fair.
So
the saboteur and the technician.
yes,
Very good.
I'm gonna say that they're from. Is it Akaros? Did you
Oh,
say?
it's the industrial area. Yeah.
Yeah, that basically lived in amongst machines, like semi-metaphorically.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you have played Outer Worlds.
I have a little bit.
A little bit like Vivati.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Very keen technician.
Very keen.
Yes. But
Okay.
with but considerably less blue collar in this particular scenario.
Fair enough. Joe, any thoughts?
I think lurk for me.
Oh, very good for the stealthy infiltrator. The burglar. Yeah, very good for a shadows. Yep, very good. And then the heritage is done. The next thing is background. So this is what you were doing before you decided to join up with this crew or to maybe start this crew. You came from somewhere else. Maybe you were a researcher. Maybe you were a student. Maybe you worked in the military. Perhaps you already came from the underworld. Maybe that's how. If one of you came from the underworld, maybe you left one of the other two factions on either good or bad terms, and that's why now all of a sudden these guys either hate or love you. So that could be something you might want to consider as well. So
I'm going to be slightly boring and say labourer.
okay. So what kind of labor did you
Yeah,
do?
I'm now just narrowing that one down while other people pick.
That's fair. That's fair. So let me look at it. Let me double check something in advancement. That's crew advancement. Here you go. Yeah. So to make XP, you make anytime you make a desperate action roll, which is like the highest tier, you gain 1 XP for the attribute you rolled. You have a playbook specific XP trigger. So for instance, on the lurk, you earn XP whenever you address a challenge with stealth or evasion. So anytime you sneak by something, you gain XP. All of your playbooks will have specific XP requirements. The other way you earn XP is by expressing your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. So any of those 4. Or you struggled with issues from your vice or traumas. That usually doesn't occur unless you start getting into overindulgence in your vice, and I'll explain vices in a minute. So that's those things.
It's kind of quite steampunky, isn't it?
It is, yes.
So can I say that I worked in? Because obviously we're collecting, not we personally, but in the world we're collecting ghost blood to power the electric fence that protects us. But internally, is our electric still created from like generators, massive steam generators?
So the way it would probably work is you would burn the demon blood to generate to generate
steam, and then
because that's how all engineering really works at the end of the day. We don't really have a good other way of doing things. We just burn things.
In that case, I will have worked on in one of the power generation facilities.
Yeah.
Primarily focusing on the actual steam regulation and steam monitoring. And I've seen the good and bad side of that, which is how I can blow stuff up.
Fair enough. Cool. Once you've chosen, what other backgrounds are people choosing?
I'm eyeing up noble.
Noble. Okay. So you come from a noble background. Maybe no longer noble, or maybe you still are.
I think maybe. I still need to decide on the heritage. If I go for Akaros, then I'll go for a noble that's been disowned. But if I go from afar, then I might just be a noble.
A noble who's in the city from somewhere outside. Yeah.
Be right back. 2 seconds.
Sure.
I think military for me.
Military. Oh, very nice.
What kind of organizations would military cover in this sort of setting?
So military would cover things like the Bluecoats or their higher tier, which is the what are they called? Not investigators. It's something. It begins with an I. You have them here.
Inquisitors?
No, not inquisitors.
Instigators?
No. Maybe it is investigators. Anyways, they're like a higher tier, or it could be the military because Duskfall has like the wider country that within Duskfall sits has been at war with other countries, and it's the Empire that has basically gone out and subjugated everyone else. They're the last country left on the world, in this world of absolute darkness. So you could be maybe you went out and subjugated one of the island nations at some point. That could be part of it.
Yeah, I'm thinking sort of like spy or military intelligence kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely in there. Cool.
All right, I'm going for an Eruvian noble.
Cool. So from afar, in a city that their nobility maybe doesn't mean as much as it used to.
But at the same time, I'm enjoying being out from under the obligations that I would have had back home.
So you will see, I don't know if you can see this. So for each of your playbooks, you'll have a number of starting actions that you'll get. These are the pips, basically. So for the Lurk, you have 1 in Finesse and 2 in Prowl. For the Whisper...
1 in Study and 2 in Attune, by the looks of it.
Yes. And then...
Little back, sorry, apologies.
Just going over the attributes now.
Is the attributes the Insight, Prowess, Resolve?
Yes, the ones underneath that, yes. So
yes.
In your case, you're the Leech, so you get 2 in Tinker and 1 in Wreck.
Yay.
From there, you may assign 4 action dots anywhere you like. Bearing in mind the kind of ideas your characters come from, and the idea that mechanically it is both good to be broad and specialized. So it's kind of which do you want to choose, as it were. And there's no wrong answer here, essentially.
So 4 on top of the 3 we had already.
Yes. Sorry. Actions cannot advance to 3. I knew there was a special stipulation. They have to go to 2 and no more.
So, because I've already got 2 in Tinker, I can't add any more to Tinker.
Correct. After creation, they may advance up to 3, but before that, you can't.
Okay, so we can have a maximum of 2 in each one to begin with.
Yes.
What do Hunt and Study sort of entail?
So Hunt would be you're trying to literally hunt somebody down. You're trying to track them. You're trying to go after them. Where Study would be like you go into a library and you're trying to figure out, for instance, maybe using a set of maps to locate where somebody's base actually is, or to find some hidden entrance into their area. Those would be the differences between those two.
And Survey?
Is kind of like your spot. Spot hidden or perception, more or less.
And with the resolve stuff, so what's like, so is sway your ability to convince someone of something?
Yes.
Whereas consort is how well you can blend, presumably?
It's kind of, a bit like that. It's a bit like, there's like a good explanation, so I'll get that, see if I can find it, because it's kind of like your ability to like hobnob and move through a crowd and kind of go, hey, I know you and blah blah blah, and you kind of like go around and you rub elbows and such.
And why can you also look up a tune as well if you don't know that one already as well?
So a tune I do know.
Cool.
Attune is like there is a ectoplasmic or kind of field, a ghost field that exists across the entire city and the entire world, in fact. And you use that to do things that are a little strange, a little weird. Maybe you attune to the lightning shield itself, or you try to attune to the power grid, because all the power grid is also powered by all this demon blood and it's ectoplasmic in nature, so it is very possible for you to knock out the power grid by attuning to it. Of course, that carries danger and risk because you are basically sticking your finger in a light socket, but there is that. Consort. When you consort, you socialize with friends in conflict. You might gain access to resources, people, or places. You might make a good impression or win someone over with your charm and style. You might make new friends or connect with your heritage or background. You can try to direct your friends with social pressure. Depends, but you could be like a command or an attune. You open your mind to the ghost field or channel nearby ectoplasm through your body. You might communicate with ghosts or understand a specific astrology. You could try to perceive beyond sight in order to better understand your situation. So think about like you tune to the ghost field and maybe you try to see what's beyond a wall or a door and see if there's people behind it. Those kinds of things.
The concept of attuning to a ghost field, is that a commonly accepted practice where we're from, or is that still a little bit fringy?
It is a commonly accepted practice. Whispers are seen as useful and very helpful. Being able to see into opponents' bases, into their areas, in seeing what they're doing, perhaps reading their minds even. There are many dark powers that exist within Duskwall.
Cool. I think I've picked, so we should have a total of 7 dots.
Yes.
3 for our starting and 4 in total, so
That is correct.
I have, and it's the very first one, the one with the little additional red dot that will count when we have to do like an insight.
If you have to, yes. So if you have to resist, that is where it comes in. So for instance, it's probably not going to come up in insight, but it could. Like, actually, tinker is a good one. So say you're tinkering. A tinker roll could be like you're trying to disarm a bomb. And say you mix up the red and blue wires and you cut the wrong one.
God damn this eternal sepia tone.
Yes, exactly. I can't see which color it is because I've got dark vision and I've got no color vision at the moment. You say you mess that up, and I say, well, what happens is you hear the ticking speed up. You can roll insight to resist that, and so instead of the ticking speeding up, you actually cut both of them, but it causes you more stress and.
Yeah.
Do you see? Yeah. So.
Yep. Makes sense.
Yep. You did pick the hardest one for me to think of. How do you get a resist roll out of insight? But I managed it. I was there.
Yeah, you did well.
The easier ones are like skirmish or fighting and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, you get punched in the face, that kind of stuff.
What's finesse? Is that like picking someone's pocket?
Yes. Yeah.
And prowl is sneaking. Yeah.
I've got actually a list here now. I found the list. I found my page.
Ah.
I need a thing. Where's my thing? Oh, I have like sticky notes for this
It's
purpose.
page 26 of the online document, if that helps. I think anyway.
Nice. I've got the full book, so I just put sticky notes in it. But yeah, that'll give you guys something to look at as well. So. Oh, it's on the other side of character creation. I should have just. That's fine. From there, you now need to choose a special ability. Now, your classes will recommend a specific one. It will go. Probably should do this. So for if you click add an ability, if you look in, it gives you all of them. You can't choose the one that says have like a bracket that has 3 next to it. But any of the ones that are for your class and for your ones, Whisper is W, Leech is LE, and Lurker is LU. So it's pretty easy to figure out what they are. And you can hover over the question mark to see what they do specifically. But for each one, Leech is alchemist. That's the recommended one. Basically, when you invent or craft an creation with alchemical features, you get a +1 to the result level. So if you roll the 1 to 3, it becomes a 4 to 5. So for instance, if you decide to make a bomb or a Molotov cocktail or acid that eats through walls, your result level goes up. If so, it makes it a little easier for you to win for those kinds of things. And then there's various other things. For Lurk, it's Infiltrator. And basically, you are not affected by quality or tier when you try to bypass security. So makes picking locks or disabling alarms or those kinds of things easier for you. You don't need to worry about that bullcrap. And then Whisper's one is Compel. You could force nearby ghosts to appear before you, and they have to obey an order given to it. Basically, you summon a little ghost friend, and they go do something for you. Depending on what you ask it to do, it will make the check more easier or harder. Right.
So you said how many ability points did we get?
You get 1 ability point. So if it has a 3 in the brackets next to the name when you try to add it to the character sheet, you can't choose that one.
Okay.
There are a few like that.
Yeah, one of these is veteran.
Yeah, which gives you an extra stress per. I think gives you an extra stress.
You choose a bit of special ability from another source. This one says.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So with the recommended one, would you recommend it?
Well, yeah, because it's the simplest one to understand, and it's not. It doesn't do. It does a cool thing as well usually.
Okay.
So go with that as well. So you've chosen a special ability. The next thing to do is to choose a close friend and a rival. So this could be useful in determining why the Lamp Blacks or the Red Sashes like or hate you. Because you could have a close friend in one and a rival in the other, and that would be like, yep. Or you could be why the Bluecoats already hate you, because maybe you've got a rival in there, especially for the military man. Really good choice, because the Bluecoats, and if you were an actual military man as opposed to a Bluecoat, a lot of the Bluecoats would be washed out from the military, never made it that far. And
Yeah.
so there's a
But
lot
I
of
left
good...
someone to die once, and now he's got it out for me.
Yeah, also good. But yeah, just choose a close friend and a rival. It may come up, it may not. You can also use these close friends and rivals when you're going through the game to get them to do things for you, or get them to, or potentially they could be foils for me to use. So, the next thing is to
I'm not
choose
saying
your
where
vice.
to add the rivals.
In your notes, just in your notes.
Oh, okay, just in there.
Yep.
So are we making this person up then, or?
Yeah, just make them up. If you want to help with like a faction where they're from, or like if you want them to be a noble, or if you want them to be a rival gang member, or they could be literally anything. Just think about the setting as well. They could be a prostitute, for instance, that you frequent. They could be a blue coat that you paid off. The other thing I should mention as well, death is very frowned upon in Duskfall. If somebody dies in Duskfall, everyone knows very quickly. Magical crows appear and circle the area where the body dies, and then a bell rings out that lets every single person in the city that somebody has died.
So let's not kill anybody.
And then, after that, a group called the Spirit Wardens, masked people that are anonymous, arrive to make sure that the body does not turn into a ghost. And they take a very, very poor look at people killing other people within their city.
Yeah, because it creates ghosts.
Yep. Which can cause serious problems, including creatures called vampires, which are the possessed forms of people who are slowly being consumed by the spirits within them.
So is it a friend and an enemy you wanted?
Yeah, a friend and a rival, specifically.
Oh,
But rival and enemy are kind of... so is a rival, enemy, scorned lover, or betrayed partner. Basically, like, they don't like you for whatever reason. So somebody who likes you and somebody who doesn't. The friend can be a friend, longtime ally, family relation, or lover. So basically, somebody who will help you out and somebody who will potentially hinder you. or somebody you maybe want to hinder as well. Kind of the other way of looking at that. It doesn't have to be like, don't worry too much about it if you can't think of one, but just kind of keep it in the back of your mind. The last thing to do, the one that does matter, is choose a vice. The vices are essentially like when you finished your job, when you finished your score, you need to unwind. The way you unwind and get rid of stress that you accumulated during your job is by indulging your vices. And your vices, so some of you already collect some of them, so luxury, gambling. They can be kind of esoteric. So luxury could mean you indulge yourself in wine, hot springs, perhaps you just go to art shows and operas and galleries and things of those natures. But it could be more strange. You could bathe in gold, for instance, or you could...
Zombie, get the chocolate icing.
Yes, something along those lines.
That's very specific.
Yeah. You could... Yeah, go ahead.
The vices, can they also occur within our job? I'm thinking that the reason that I left my current employment was that I perhaps gambled with some people's safety, and that was then frowned upon.
So that can be, so that will net you XP if you do that.
Ah. Cool.
So struggling with your vice while on a score will net you XP. It won't remove.
I suddenly feel, did anyone have any heroin? Just
make it a little harder.
See, now I feel like I should swap out my vice for something easier to work into a score.
Bathing in the blood of innocence.
I mean, currently it's luxury, but I could very easily swap it to pleasure.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the luxury could be that, like, if we're trying to steal things, you're much more interested in stealing things that feel particularly soft, for example, rather than have higher value, or you know, you found a coat that you really want. It unfortunately happens to be worn by the Queen. Like, we were only after
okay,
the
you've convinced me.
Yeah, I just say it's still possible. From my understanding.
So gambling, I have gambling alike, luxury alike. Joe, any ideas?
I'm just, where is, oh, there it is.
There's a couple of different ones. There are ways of making all of them occur, as it were.
What is stupor?
So drunk or so.
Substance
Stupor
abuse.
is substance abuse essentially.
Gotcha.
But it could be for instance, one person that I knew did stupor, and they did it such that they fight and fight and fight and fight and fight and fight so
Until they're
much.
bludgeoned unconscious.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. A stupor is just a pleasure to the point of beyond excess.
Yeah. So something has to make me unconscious, but it doesn't really matter what.
Exactly. Could be drugs, could be alcohol, could be fighting, could be you could be into asphyxiation. That is a thing.
So I've been told.
But yes, it is just a vice that you play into as to how you unwind after a hard, terrible job. You. There's lots of different ways of playing these. Like I had one where there was a show I was watching where faith, essentially they exhibited their faith by going to a special place where they would cut people, and that was their demonstration of faith. I think they worshipped a god called the Lady of Unending Wounds.
Oh,
Lovely.
isn't the holiday in Sigil, was she?
No.
I'm trying to think of what would be an appropriate way to do it. Like, I'm thinking of a character who really doesn't like to be in the spotlight, someone who likes to never ever be seen. So, would like agoraphobia or something be? I don't know if that's a vice though.
think it's a vice.
What
But
would
you could bring it into that. So if we were to, so like you're after a job, in order to unwind, you go to a sensory deprivation place.
yeah,
Um,
a
that
crypt or something? Under a
oh, a
bridge.
crypt. That's a good one. I would say that's probably like either pleasure or maybe weird, because there is a category for weird. Yeah, I'd go. Yeah, either of those two, pleasure or weird.
Let's go weird.
Yeah.
It sounds quite weird.
Yeah, it does a bit. So okay, so that's the things. The last thing to do is a name and an alias. I'll probably I'll probably refer to the characters by alias because usually they're easier to remember. Things like the
Okay.
snake or Bell.
I've just picked smoke.
Smoke, cool. It was a good one.
TheFantasyNameGenerator.com.
They may have a Blades in the Dark like name generator in there. They do have most everything else. Yeah.
Digimon names, cool.
Yeah, it's a full thing.
Yeah, I'm not seeing Blades in the Dark specifically.
Okay.
Creepypasta names.
Yeah. Oh, see, it added.
His Dark Materials.
Ooh, that might work. That's actually, yeah, that's probably a really good one.
Joe Sutton. But then you go down there, Noah Caldwell, Asmar Elfara, Liborio Cusanelli, Gerard Bougie.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to Mistborn. Yes.
Okay. So once you've got that done, cool. Once you've got that done, take a look. So if you look on the PDF, you'll have a list for each of the playbook's items. You don't have to specify, I've got this item. You just need to tell me what load you have. The way that all of the jobs work is it's kind of, you just say, I'm load light, and then you slowly tick off how much, like how many times you've used a thing or have a thing. So if you all of a sudden come to a locked door and say, I want to have my fine tools, you have them, as long as you have a light load. Once you get to a point where you've finished out your load, that's the stuff you have, and you kind of lock it off.
Sure. So it's flexible until you reach the cap.
Yeah, effectively.
Are there some things that we will just always have, regardless of that don't count towards the load?
Yes, so there's something that have 0 load, for instance. There's a couple of those. So for instance, the Leech has blowgun darts and syringes. They always have those. And they don't have to worry about them not having them. The Lurk, I think, they always have their fine lockpicks. They're 0 load. And they always have a silence potion vial, which negates all sound within 10 paces of the drinker for a span of several moments. Let me see. What does a Whisper always have? I think
Demon Bane Charm and a Ghost Key?
Yeah. So you've got those two things. And they tell you what they do as well. The Ghost Key allows you to open ghost doors. And yeah, so if you were run into a demon, you always have that charm.
So, What are the disadvantages to picking a heavier initial loadout?
So, at light load, you're faster, you're less conspicuous, and you blend in with citizens. Nobody's going to really stop you. The blue coats aren't going to go, hey, wait a minute, something's up with that guy. At normal load, you look like a scoundrel. You look ready for trouble. You're going to get some eyes, probably not in crow's foot, but if you try to go somewhere, say, a little bit more upscale, like White Crown or even maybe, what's the other place? Brighttown. Basically, those are the more upscale areas. People are going to start to go, hey, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be here. You're up to no good. If you're in heavy, you're slower and you look like an operative on a mission. Past that, you are encumbered. You're overburdened and can't do anything except move very slowly. So,
so I'll tell you what I'm weighing up between light and medium.
mm-hmm.
As sort of like an engineer, say, is there a way that you could pass off a slightly heavier loadout as they're doing a particularly, like they're doing a legitimate job?
So that would come up when somebody tried to question you about it. They would go,
right, okay,
what are you up to? And then you could say, if you're trying to pass it off, there's a couple of ways you could do that. You could try to talk your way through it and just say, oh, no, blah, 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 I'm here. Or you could have said, well, I would have disguised it to do this, and then we would make a different role for that. And then you kind of figure out what do you think it is, as to which way you want to go.
cool, okay.
Yeah, there they are. Okay. I think
I'm
my bit. There we go.
Where'd you find the items that you always have on you?
In on your crew bit, and yours is spider.
If you go into loadout and hit add item, then you should see the list of everything that can be added, including your archetype ones, which have the ones that have a cost of 0 next to them are your free ones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've got it. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so you've made your characters, your shadows, you have those two things. We won't worry about the other bit, because it's not really that important.
Is there anything we need to do from being shadowed? Just have it in.
That's it. There is another bit, but I don't think it's relevant for this particular job. So we'll skip it for now. So either of those scores work, so we'll do one of those two. Have you decided on which factions are your friends and which factions are your enemies?
So we've got, was it the Lamp Blacks?
So the lamp, okay. So I can give you kind of a brief history on them if you want.
Please.
I was trying, yeah, and I couldn't remember the name of the other guys.
Red sashes.
The Red Sashes and the Lamp Blacks. The Lamp Blacks are a former lamplighter guild turned to crime when their services were replaced by the Electric Lights. So they were good boys, but perhaps they did a little bit of a on the side heavy muscling, basically saying we'll turn out your lights unless you pay us, essentially.
Be a real shame if the lights went out.
Yeah, that kind of side of things. Their leader is Baz. He is charming, ruthless, and he is a whiskey connoisseur. Their second in command is Pickett, a small wiry thing. Looks a bit like a picket fence. Their headquarters in the office of the coal warehouse. They operate a handful of brothels and cheap drug dens across Crow's Foot. They are a fearsome gang of leg breakers and mayhem makers, and they have a number of smugglers on their payroll that run their drugs. And yes, they are enemies with the red sashes, blue coats, and the cabbies, which basically run the gondolas inside of Duskfall. The red sashes are originally a school of ancient Eruvian sword arts. They have since expanded into criminal endeavors. They have their headquarters in a sword fighting school / temple. They operate a handful of high-end drug dens across Crow's Foot and the docks. They have a small contingent of master sword fighters and one master alchemist and many potent potions and essences, which might be relevant to our other alchemists. Maybe you worked with them. That might be a good way of going about it. Their leader is Mylera Clev. They are shrewd, ruthless, and educated, and an art collector. And they are enemies with the Lampblacks, Bluecoats, and the Gondoliers, which are another faction of people that ferry people about in Duskwall. So those are the two factions that are currently within. They're not at war yet, but everyone in the city and everyone in the Crows district knows it's only a matter of time before open warfare and blood is on the streets.
I'm leaning towards the red sashes.
Your friends?
To being friends, yes.
Okay.
Oh.
But if the other two want to outvote me, then that is absolutely fine.
I would lean slightly towards the Lampblacks, but neither sort of matters hugely. Mike?
The coin again.
Yeah, we can. I mean,
Just a fate.
yeah. What is there a coin option? No, I'll just do a D4. So, let's go evens for red sashes and odds for, is it lamp or
Lamp. That's because they were lamplighters. Yeah.
Cool. We are with
So,
the
yeah.
lamp.
Yes, the Lampblacks are your allies, and the red sashes are your adversaries. Cool. So I think that might help you with your enemy, Mike. Perhaps you ended up, you were working for the red sashes. You were an apprentice to this master alchemist, and maybe you fucked up his experiment, or something along those lines. Or maybe he thinks you screwed it up, or maybe you outstaged him. Maybe you did something that he could never do. Perhaps you succeeded in turning lead into gold, even if temporarily.
Very close to the idea that I currently. So, I mean, friend-wise, I've got that I actually know someone now that we've picked. It's actually someone in the Lampblacks who originally taught me my trade. Because I've got it that he's leech for the Lampblacks, but I went into more legitimate areas until the incident.
I was actually thinking of now that we've picked the Lampblacks, I was kicked out of one of the Red Sash pleasure houses because I was degrading the quality of their merchandise.
Okay.
How so?
Were you touching things?
I was complaining at the poor quality of their fine smokables, or sniffables, or
Denigrating.
drinkables, or screwables.
Potables.
Potent potables. Very well. Cool. Right.
So I'm just gonna say, name the proprietor of that establishment. I'm gonna call him Shackles.
Sure. Shackles is the proprietor of the pleasure house. You have made very angry. Okay. That might be useful. So let's start the scene then. So we'll go right into the start of the score. You've all let's introduce you as you are being you're being rounded up by the Lampblacks. They want you for some kind of job, and the three of you have been kind of picked out as possible helpers. And they know you're looking to start up a new crew. they don't want their hands in this, and they brought you all in one at a time. So let's start with introduce Ryan, your character. Let's start with you.
Okay. So I'm a foreign gentleman from Iruvia. I wear good quality clothes, but they're a bit dated now. They're not quite up to the modern styles in the city. Possibly they're a little bit ragged around the edges. So, you know, I come from money, but I currently don't have it. But you can see that I've got a long lacquered wooden pipe with a gold basket, a gold coloured basket on the end, which I've constantly got on my hand and smoking from. And you occasionally see, either from my mouth or from the pipe itself, shapes in the smoke. I've got white hair, but but I'm not old. It seems like the hair is just naturally white.
Yeah, it's not an uncommon sight in this area. Several whispers seem to have developed the affliction at one point or another.
And I sometimes, smoke stares off into something that only he can see.
Very good.
You don't know if he's just putting that on to try and unnerve you, or if he can actually see something there.
Joe?
Okay, yeah, he's sort of a very generic looking man. He's sort of brownish hair, average height. His complexion is sort of not muddied, but grimy enough that you can't sort of see what complexion he has, whether he's ruddy or pale.
Middle sliders on all the character creators. Yeah.
He's got sort of leather patches on a very dingy grey tweed, which looks like it would be difficult to pick out among shadows. He's wearing like a short top hat, not a fancy one, like not an opera top hat, but just an everyday wear Victorian-esque top hat. Pulls sort of slightly low over the brow, and he's wearing black leather gloves as well.
Mike?
So my guy's got a bit of a cheeky smile, appears very easygoing, but always but he's got himself like a lucky coin that he will absent-mindedly flip. It's sort of been worn smooth on one side, where he sort of rubs it absent-mindedly with his thumb as he's sort of working with his other hand. It's kind of worn on one edge, as if it's also been used as a makeshift screwdriver, and then across the other side appears to be some kind of scorch mark, whether that's high voltage electricity or extreme heat. So yeah, not always as lucky. He can get very sort of he's got sort of like a sort of overalls. What are the things?
Suspenders?
Yeah, suspenders. Not
Dungarees?
dungarees. Yeah, kind of like that. Kind of like what you might see in a steam train driver. That sort of
Overalls?
Yeah, overalls. There we go. Sorry, brain's lost that word. So, which have, they're kind of, they're obviously well used, but still maintained. But there are obviously some sort of permanent marks in them, whether that be sort of rip or scorch marks and things like that. But he can get very focused. But yeah, that's
very, very cool. So the three of you are led through. and basically hoisted and moved and deposited in the cramped office of the Lampblack's leader, Baz, who overlooks the coal warehouse floor below. There are several of his thugs that hang about, armed for war, sizing you up. Bazzo turns and goes, "Right, I want your answer. Are you with them?" And he just kind of... There's an implicit, like, the red sashes there. Or against them. What do you say? Will you side with the Lampblacks? Or are you just gonna pretend to... And he looks at the three of you.
I sort of side eye the others to see what they're going to say.
Can I try and subtly just make a little lantern? Make a little lantern out of the smoke coming from the end of my pipe.
Yeah, that's easy enough for you to do. It doesn't require a check because you're not under pressure at the moment. And yeah, the little lantern appears. It looks at the little lantern and... Style. Like that. Good. Then I have a job for you. Well, I've actually got 2 jobs. 3 if you're thinking brave. Or you have to see which one you prefer. Now I know that the Red Sash has got a war treasury. They're trying to size up, get ready for the big score, trying to take us out, take our territory, or more likely, take the crows while they're a bit off their feet. But I know where it is. So I'll tell you where it is. And we think it's about 12 coin. You bring it back to us, we'll give you 4 of it. Pretty good deal, though, if you ask me. All you need to do is get in there, get out, preferably without being seen or leaving our names anywhere, and you make quite a tidy profit. The other score I've got for you, the risky one, sneak into their headquarters and deposit this. He kind of looks at looks around at his 2 compatriots. This little weedy, tiny, like rake of a man comes forward, like bright blonde hair, carrying this strange eldritch artifact, deposited on the desk and kind of like shivers as he does so. Put that in there, somewhere hidden, central. If you can get it into that bitch, my Lara's office, all the better. We'll know when you've done it with that job. Well, we'll give you 2 coin for that one. It's a much easier job.
You mentioned... apologies, sir. Continue.
The final score I have for you. You can choose any or none. Just, it's nice to know where my friends are. Kill my Lara Clev. That's an easy one. I'll leave the logistics of that one for you. For that job, I'll give you 6 coin. Hell. Do it and make sure that they know the Lampblacks did it, or were responsible. Give you 8.
So, is their leader located in the same place where they keep their coin, the war chest that you mentioned?
She might be. She might not be. It's up to you as to when you decide to do the deed. And I wouldn't necessarily try and do the deed at the same time you try and steal a whole shit ton of coin. You'll be coming out of there with sacks bigger than you. It might slow you down a bit, and, the crows will be on you faster than you can blink.
One crime at a time, as they say.
Indeed.
Smoke is going to lean down and look at the artifact on the desk. And a little question mark will appear on the end of the pipe. What is it? What is it? Can I try and figure out what it is?
So do you want? How do you want to figure out how to do that? How do you want to figure out what it is? Do you want to try to use your eclectic knowledge from far beyond, or do you want to try to tune to the ghost field and actually try and talk to this thing, perhaps?
As the dude shuddered merely by touching it, I'm not sure I want to be attuning to its ghost field right now.
Okay.
So could I maybe roll my for study?
Yes, sure. We'll make a study
For
roll.
previous knowledge gathered.
Yes, so we'll say that. So this is what's called a fortune roll. It's like, do you know this or not? And it's not necessarily dangerous, but I'd say it's so when you click it, you should get a pop-up that says what kind of position it is, at least the effect it is. So this is not a risky, it's a controlled. It's not anything's going to happen. And then the effect would be, I would say, limited. Because this thing is an odd artifact from far beyond your knowledge. So it's unlikely for you to know what it is. Now, if you do well in the roll, so for instance, you get a 6 on your roll, you can make your roll worse to up the effect, so you can get a standard instead of a limited. So that's one of the things you can do.
Okay. So I'll just hit so controlled and limited with no other modifiers.
Correct, unless you want to push yourself. Wow.
No, it's fine.
Okay. Okay. So do you want to lower your reward rating to get a better result, as it were?
Sure, let's do that.
Okay. So
helps us learn the mechanics anyway.
Essentially, so instead of his 6, you got a 4 to 5, which means that you basically got you succeeded, but with complications. So I guess the complications would be here is that as you're kind of like, you're peering a little too close to this thing, you're basically staring at this thing for a little too long, and you just hear a voice in your head go, boom, and you just jump back a bit, at which kind of like the Lampblack's leader, Basco, looks at you and goes, "What are you doing? Why are you?" Now I'm going to introduce you to a new mechanic. Something
you can say the question mark on the end of the pipe turned into an exclamation mark as I jump back.
Okay.
Ooh, shall I make my character a mute?
No.
No, that's in a roleplay game. No, especially one
really hard.
virtual. Yeah.
So there is a mechanic called clocks, and a clock is basically something is going to happen when the clock fills, and we're going to call this first clock we get Red Sash's status, and that's going to add a tick to it because now you've kind of you've annoyed him a little bit, just a little bit, not a huge amount, but enough to where he's like, I don't trust these guys as much as I used to. No, that's not what I wanted. A clock. And if the clock fills, then something bad will happen. In this case, you will lose reputation. Basically, you know what it's going to do. We're going to call this negative. Create new actor, and we're going to make it a 6 because they already like you, so it's fine. So you get 1 pip in that. That's what your detriment is in this case.
Do we get to see this clock anywhere?
Yeah, if I get, did I make sure it was available to all of you? I did not. All players, the observer. Boom. There's a folder called clocks. I'll put them all in there.
Is this Red Sashes or Lampblack's rep?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's right. It's supposed to be Lampblack's. There we go. Lampblack's rep negative.
Is it supposed to be in that?
Yes, it is.
Lampblack's.
Lamlax? That's very different.
If we were a lot more likely to piss them off, would it be less sections in the pie?
Yes.
Okay.
So the clocks can be, I think it's 4, 6, 8, and 12. I think is the 4 you can choose from. Let me actually say 4. You can technically have any sections you want, but the tool only has 4, 6, and 8. But yeah, you can make it for once. But it's a good way of like measuring progress. So for your information, this thing appears to be some kind of unnatural, evil ward of some kind. It doesn't link to any specific eldritch being, More of this thing is designed to just give a general feeling and sense of uneasiness and cause bad luck for all of the red sashes while in its presence. Unfortunately, it doesn't exactly have an off switch. So they need to get it out of their place and into somebody else's.
Sure.
And they found the perfect people to offload it on.
I mean, you say we can only do one job, but could we not deposit this thing and then go steal their war chest?
If you want to try that, by all means, I'm not going to stop you. And if you're brave enough, what am I to care? Just make sure you bring back the money, If you try to make off with it, well, can't promise, you'll be living much longer in Duskfall, that's for sure. But
So it's 2 for delivering the artifact, 4 for bringing back the war chest, and 8 for killing the bitch.
That's the deal.
Oh. This
Do you have any particular priority for these jobs?
If you don't pick one, I'm gonna find somebody else to do it, and eventually we're gonna have to kill that bitch regardless, so, well, or remove. When I say kill, I mostly mean make sure she's not a problem anymore. If you find some other inventive way of making sure she, leaves Duskfall, or whatever, I don't care. I just don't want her in my problem. She's one of the best fencers in all of the Crow's Foot. I don't want to fight her if I don't have to.
Seems to me we want that artifact out very soon. Otherwise it might start talking to you lot.
Yeah.
We're gonna remove the artifact regardless of what you guys like to do. It needs to not be here.
Gentlemen,
Choice is yours, gentlemen, but please hurry.
I'm inclined to deliver the artifact. Potentially we could then try and abscond on behalf of our good friends here with the treasury on the way out, as suggested.
if the opportunity provides itself, I don't see why not.
we're delivering the artifact. We want to be heading out there without anybody knowing. So if we don't come away with the war chest this time, might at least have a little bit of information for the next time we go in.
Exactly. So we can guarantee that we'll get the artifact in, and if we can get the coin tier, then we will.
That sounds lovely, then. I'll tell you where the war chest is. They have a safe in the bottom of their southwest tower. Very bottom of the staircase. Don't know what's down there, but there's a vault. As far as I'm aware, behind the vault, that's where their war chest is. Should be easy pickings once you get in there, but there's enough defenses, and especially it's in their home headquarters, you're gonna have to figure something out. But that's on you, not on me.
And correct me if I'm wrong, this artifact would be best if it was in their property but no one knew about it.
Correct. I don't want them removing it before it's had a chance to, affect them, if you understand me.
What's the size and shape of it?
Oh, yay big. Not much bigger. It's about
Basketball sized?
yeah, a little bit. Yeah, narrow, like a tall statue kind of thing. But yeah, basketball.
Is this thing gonna have an effect through walls and doesn't have to be out in the open?
Oh yeah. Effective straight through walls, ceilings, floors, and wherever you find it. As long as it's in the general vicinity, especially if it's in somebody's somebody important's room. That's what's really key. They're in there a long time. Sleeping quarters would be great as well. Affect all them for long periods of time. Imagine them not being able to sleep with this thing anywhere near them.
Give him a few nightmares.
More than that, but I wouldn't sleep anywhere near this thing. Let's just put it that way. So you are provided with the artifact. You're provided with the location. For reference, actually, you see this spot in the middle of the crow's foot. You see this big building here?
That is the Red Sashes Tower?
That is the Red Sashes Academy, because it was a former, it is basically like a school designed for teaching the best fencers in all of Duskwell until it closed down. Yeah, and they're in the... Yeah. So imagine this big academy-like building with huge turrets that rise up into the sky. Yeah, that's their building. Now, the choice is, as you leave the area with the statue in your possession, you go back to your headquarters where you have ever decided to set up. So it could be anything you can imagine. One crew had a bathhouse in the Crow's Foot, that a disused bathhouse that they were hiding underneath and the sewers below. Or it could just be a nondescript building that looks essentially like maybe it looks just like somebody's house. You pull on a lever somewhere and the floor opens up and you descend below. Or perhaps in the attic somewhere up high in a watchtower. It doesn't really matter at this moment. But for now, you are in your thing discussing what plan you are going to enact. Now, for the plan, the way it works is you choose what kind of thing you're going, what kind of score you're trying to do. And there's a couple of different ways you can do this. Where is the thing? Where's the thing on scores? Because there's like a specific word I'm supposed to use. I always forget the name of it. SCORE 125. Because it tells me the type of score. The score 125. So you have 6 kinds of ways you want to engage. Assault, straight up violence. You're going to bash your way through, kill everyone, or knock them out, or whatever you're going to do, and try and bash your way straight through the fight. Deception, you lure, trick, or manipulate. How you decide to do that is up to you. Things like causing a commotion in another area to lure everyone away, and then the place is yours. Stealth, that's pretty obvious. You trespass unseen. Sneak your way in, make sure no one sees you, and engage here. Occult, you engage in a supernatural power, ghosts and those kinds of things in order to make it your way in. Social, you're going to negotiate, bargain, or persuade your way in. This doesn't mean that you're bargaining for the item itself, but more of you're trying to make so that other people, you bribe your way in, you talk to people, you know people. Or transport, which I don't think this applies here, although it could. You could try and fake your way as like a transport, like delivering something to this place. Make your way in that way.
Okay. So out of our 6 options, can we make the violent storming approach option 7?
Yeah, that's fair.
Right.
But I thought we all picked the super violent classes.
I think it's probably best, at least for this one, if no one knows we were there at all.
Yes, agreed. So
Because if we get in there, drop it off, and then escape when someone sees us, and nothing is missing, then they're going to wonder why nothing's missing.
how so this artifact, did you say it was a statue?
Yes.
Or was it? Oh, okay.
So about basketball size or soccer size, football sized statue, not much bigger.
Okay.
So I mean that's going to be tough to hide in a bedroom.
Unless we were able to stick it under the floorboards.
I was thinking in a wall. Brick
Or
it
in a
up.
wall, yeah.
That's just a good way of doing it. Yeah. I will tell you now, there's another mechanic that may become relevant very quickly. You can do something called flashbacks in this. And the way that works is that if you decide, for instance, that when you're on the job, you run into a situation where you're like, oh shit, we should have thought of this, you can literally go, I thought of this, and flash back to when you thought of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're all standing in our dingy attics around the planning table at this moment, and then this is the moment we flash back to when someone says, well, actually, we got to do that first. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Effectively, yes. Like, if you think about like Ocean's 11 or something like that, that happens a lot in those movies where they go, but we already had the car ready, kind of thing.
Yeah, like this safe has a triple reinforced deadbolt
Glass relock, I
Torque
think.
Master 5000 lock to it. So we're going to need a very special pick to get through that.
Yeah, and you have that.
But we
Because you
wouldn't
already
know
knew
that there was this Torque Master 5000 lock until we actually saw it. And it's like, you see a Torque Master 5000 lock. Right, flashback. We knew they had this.
Good. Yep.
Yeah.
So stealth. I mean, do we want to go in undetected or? So there's a difference between going in unseen and going in without being noticed.
Well,
in the sense that
what's everyone's skills looking like? What's everyone's preferences?
I have nothing in the social skills. Like the only social is it resolve is sort of the charisma-y kind of ones, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah. So the only point I've got in that is attune. So very much the.
Whereas
yeah,
I've got put most of my points into that one.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could talk our way. You could talk us in if we needed.
I've got 2 points in attune because that's what I came with my class.
Yeah.
But I've got 1 point in command, consort, and sway. I do, however, also have 1 point in prowl.
Okay.
Yeah, I have none in prowl. I've got quite a few in tinker and in wreck.
So if you want to use those, like if you
I
want to
can
try,
use it as a distraction.
you could, yeah.
I'm not suggesting that I have a full frontal assault, but I could also because there was something about alchemy as well. So presumably I could mix up something like a knockout gas or something if we needed.
You could,
But
yeah.
I might save that for a flashback so that I have the right potion mixed up at the right time.
Sure.
If we wanted to cover the absence of something, we could either stage a fake break-in, a fake an attempt to steal something in there, or like do some other kind of misdirection by like, this was to send a message or this was to, yeah.
So
Who did they who is it that the red is it the red sashes, do they hate the gondola people or the other taxi drivers?
the red sashes hate.
The gondoliers, I believe.
Yeah.
And there were the cabbies as well.
Yeah,
We hate the cabbies.
Yeah, you hate the cabbies. The red sashes enemies are the gondoliers. So they run the gondolas all throughout Duskwall. The cabbies runs a separate surface. Basically, they run like if you see like the old horse and carriages that run throughout the city, they run those.
Yeah.
So could we not, so while we're moving something in, could we perhaps secretly not trash but sort of we'd have to try and quietly trash a room but also like make
You
it
want to
look
try
like
to pin this on the gondoliers. Yeah, that could be something you could do as part of the thing you're going through. That could be something you could do. But it's more of like, I just need mostly like, what is the initial point of break-in? How do you start this off? How are you getting in?
Yeah, are we going to talk our way in, or are we going to sneak our way in, or are we going to bluff our way in? Like,
do we know anything? Are there like any large events or?
Sure.
You get in through the sewers.
Going for sewers.
Could
Yeah.
could
Is
talk,
there any way
talk,
we could
talk
find some
one
blueprints
person's
for
way
the
in?
building?
Ooh.
Sure. So you want to go find some blueprints? Sure.
Yeah.
Another thing might also be to sabotage some of their tech and go in posing as repair people.
Yeah.
Yep. Now that I can do.
Yes, several of you can do that technically. You want to find some blueprints. Okay. How do you want to get these blueprints? Do you want to get them through back channels? Do you want to get them through like direct, like do you want to use a contact within maybe like somebody who's not exactly happy with the red sashes and you kind of go, what do you want to do in terms of how you're getting these blueprints?
Would this be an appropriate time to use friend?
Friend or coin, either, actually.
So my friend is a city administrator who I did a job for, who owes me a series of favors after the job got ellipsis.
Yes. Yes, that's perfect for this. So
I think it was stealing evidence on something hugely embarrassing.
Okay, sure. Sure. So you go to this friend because you know you've got this job and you know he probably has this thing, but he might need a little push, a little shove. He's a little like maybe he's. What would you describe this person as?
His name is Galveston. He is a sort of an administrator for the city in the sort of low management role. So he's not going to advance much, and he's maybe a little dissatisfied with his position. But he is. Sorry, Karen.
Yeah, no. So that works perfectly. So he probably he's gonna know you. He's gonna know you by your real name probably, rather than your. So he's gonna call you as Joshua, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh, hello, Joshua. How are you doing?
You know that I need a favor.
Oh, now, Joshua, I've helped you out a few times already, but all right, what do you need?
I need blueprints for a building in Crowsfoot.
Which building in Crowsfoot?
The Red Sash's temple.
Oh, Joshua, I mean, if they find out, they'll break me legs, and I can't. I won't be able to walk no more, and I need to walk.
I don't know if this is. This isn't really appropriate to flashback, but Galveston's wife is called Petunia.
Okay, sure.
And as he's sort of equivocating and just chatting, I say, "How is your good lady wife, Petunia, doing? Okay?
Oh,
Not had any shocks to the system? No
embarrassments,
embarrassments, has she?
Well, no. So I think
Good. Let's keep it that way.
I think what you're trying to do is you're trying to intimidate, and the intimidation comes under the command tree.
Okay.
So
yeah,
you're very bad at that. That's fine. So what you'll do is you can spend stress. So you can spend 2 stress yourself, or one of the other party members can add 1 stress to give you an extra dice as well. So, and then they need to describe how they're helping you. So if you want to spend 2 stress, you can add a dice.
I'm happy to spend 2 stress if people.
Yeah, they can also spend. Only 1 person can add a dice though. So one of the other party members.
And if we are proficient in the thing that he is trying to do, nothing.
You don't need to be proficient at it all. You just add it. He just adds a dice to his thing. So it's up to you if you want to spend the stress or not.
I will spend the stress.
Okay, so spend 2 stress. And you now roll 1d6 and take that number.
Okay, so modifier +0, risky.
This is risky, but it's not the top one.
Are we able to help him as well, or
Yes.
is it?
Yes, as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Okay. So thought it was a either or. Yes. So we're trying. It's trying to help with the intimidation. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the guy's name?
Galveston.
What sort of house do you live in, Galveston?
because I will blow it up.
Subtle.
Okay, yeah, I think like
well, I was actually just going to say, that
You know what?
particular model of house, it's renowned for dodgy wiring.
he kind of like gets this kind of like look on his face of go roll 2 dice then 2 dice
So
and take your stress
What do
yeah.
so plus 2
plus-
dice?
plus
Wonder?
2 dice because it should do it automatically.
Okay. Then position, controlled, risky, or desperate.
This is probably risky given you're threatening a public official in their office.
And then standard, limited, or great.
Great because he is shit scared.
Excellent.
Okay, so partial success, you got a 4. Okay, so what this means is you do it, but there's some harm or complication that occurs. All right, I'll get it for you. Give me a minute. And he goes back into the office and brings back the blueprints and lays them out for you. And this is the last time I'm going to be doing this for you. Like, no more. I tell you, I've paid my debts out. You get out of here. And basically what happens is he won't help you anymore unless you do something extreme.
Unless we do something else for him, yeah.
Yeah. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he's burnt as an ally.
Sure, I will give him the marker or whatever to say the debt is paid.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have these blueprints, and these blueprints detail a huge things. There is a connection on the sewers that allows you to go in from underneath. You also see there are parts of the blueprints that the southwest tower looks like it goes down quite deep, and then there's just nothing. Like the blueprints end. So there's something down there that is a bit strange. Like whatever's down there is been done off the books.
Right.
You also notice that there are several vents that allow entrance up high on the walls, and it is connected into the main power grid as well, which might be useful information for you. So there's a lot of different things you can do with this information. And anything else you can kind of just think up on the fly. It's like, is there a skylight? Yes, there's a skylight in this section. And there's all kinds of stuff.
Can we
like this.
identify any kind of like crawl space or hollow wall or
Oh yeah, there's
cubbyhole
lots.
under
There's lots
under
of
the
those.
floors?
There's lots of those all over the place. Things for like old heating systems and things of those natures. All kinds of stuff. This place is riddled with little secret passageways as well. So you now know if you need to, you can duck down a circuit hallway and slide out of sight. Maybe places that even the red sashes themselves don't know about.
Ooh, nice. Can we also identify, judging based on the positioning of the void on the blueprints, if they have a second exit from there into the sewers or something? Could we maybe figure out where it would be like the likely general area?
So you see a sewer line that runs along the side of this void. You don't know if they connect, but it's possible you could just break your way through. That might be a way in through into the vault itself, without anyone ever knowing you were in there in the first place.
Looking at the blueprints, is there are there areas where bedrooms or sleeping quarters are most likely to be
It's
located?
fairly obvious. Yeah, you know where they are now, so you're not gonna get lost inside the building as well at this point.
Well, I say that we sneak in through the sewers, so it will be a stealthy approach through the sewers. If we can do it during daylight. Oh, do we want to do it daylight when people aren't in the bedrooms?
I will point out there is no day in Duskwall.
It's
Wow.
just night.
It's always the night.
It's
So-
always night, yeah.
Is there at least a circadian cycle where people will be more likely to be asleep?
I would guess so, yeah. We'll go with that. Because otherwise it's madness.
Do we want to do it when they're most likely to be asleep or most likely to be awake?
What's your character's code name, Mike?
Wrench.
Wrench, you got anything that would get us through a wall quiet like, and maybe some kind of ability to remake it after we leave?
In terms
Getting
of... Oh, sorry.
getting you through the wall, I can do quiet like.
If you can,
suppose-
if you could dissolve the wall, perhaps I could bring forth the memory of it. Could I like summon forth the ghost of the wall, so that that
Yeah.
it looks like it's still
So-
there?
So at the time, yeah. So that's, I think, where we cut to.
Okay.
You boys are now in front. You've navigated your way through the sewers in these dark and dingy spaces. A few turds float by. It's not the best place to be in these places. You've all worn masks, though. You know what you're doing. You get to the wall where you think it is, and you smear this paste. You don't use your hands because that would be stupid. And you smear this paste using gloves along this wall, and it slowly just begins to dissolve and just eat away at the wall. And eventually, you are opened up into a solid stone room on the inside. There's a corridor to your right that seems to go off into the darkness, and then there is to your left, there is a big vault door, where basically like this giant metal vault, and your current stuff, basically you formulated to cut through stone. You're in the vault, and you look to the left and look to the right, and the first thing you've got to do is, do you go down the corridor into their main headquarters, or do you just go straight left and try and break your way through the vault?
Is there any sign of life right now?
So what do you? Let's see. Let's look at. You kind of hear a listen. You take a moment. That's probably because you don't know what the skills do. That's probably either a survey. A survey, or you could potentially make it hunt. It's up to you. Because hunt would be like studying the tracks and seeing if anyone's been down here in a while.
So if we don't have any points in that, does that then cause stress if we want to make that roll?
No, you still make the roll, but you make 2d6 and you take the lowest of those 2 dice.
I've got a point in survey.
Want to take that then?
Yeah.
Do you listen?
Can
around?
only one person listen out, or?
No, you can all listen out. This would be more of a case of like, what you can do if you just want to help him, you can just take a stress and add a dice. So it's up to you which way you want to do it. Or you could do something called a group check, and you take the person who has the best one, and if anyone, they're the leader, and everyone who fails gets a stress added to the leader. But it means that your success goes up significantly.
Okay.
I'd rather just take the stress and help.
Sure.
What's your alias's name? Sorry, Jay.
Viscount.
Viscount.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'll help Viscount out. I'll take the stress. Let's test this.
I feel like I missed a trick there. No, sorry, that was a flashback. Flashback to when we met.
Okay, so +1 dice, risky standard.
Yeah, you're not in any threat right now. You're in a good state.
5.
Cool. You listen out. You take a moment. There's nothing, and then you hear a couple of people down the hallway go, "Oi, should we check the vault again? I thought I heard something weird." So the complication is that they're coming.
Well,
But you heard some guards. You're aware of them.
I believe I did mention that I was planning on summoning the ghost of the wall.
Ah, yes. So do you just want to back up and go back into the sewer for a bit?
Well, how does the ghost wall work, Ryan? Because
Him.
can we stand where the wall would be and you create the illusion of it so we can see through it, but they can't see through to us?
Yeah, sure.
That was my intention. Yes.
Yeah. So intention matters here. So if that's your intention, that's what happens.
My intention is to make a wall in sight only.
Oh.
But only one way. So we can see in, they can't see out. And if anyone wants to like brawl them through the wall, then they're more than welcome to.
So so I imagine what you do is you grab the two of them and pull them back into the sewer, and then you conjure the wall. So you need to make an attune roll.
Okay.
Uh,
And I can take a point. Oh, sorry. I'm assuming this is risky, or is it desperate?
it's desperate because there are guards coming, and that does give you an experience point in that tree. So it's good for you in some ways, and not so good in other ways. And the effect is standard right now. Yeah.
Okay, and I
I'm
can
gonna
take us.
I'll take a point of stress and give you an extra die as well.
And I can take a point of stress to add.
You can add 2 points of stress. So if you're doing it, you add 2. If a party member's doing it, they take 1.
It's probably a good idea to do both.
Yeah, I'll take 2 points of stress, and that adds a total of so that makes it a +2 dice then in total.
Yes. So you begin conjuring, pulling these threads of the ethereal around, and
I got a 6 on the
You got a
first
6 on
dice. Didn't need to
Yes, on the
stress. Oh well.
no, you didn't. But the wall reappears slowly. The ethereal threads in the area just weave together and.
Oh yeah, I just go.
And they. You'd like a character from Hunter x Hunter. He's got like that kind of powers where he has his gigantic pipe and he just goes. It's really cool.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
Fucking kills my enemies.
Literally in this case, the smoke appears, it billows out, and then solidifies on one side. You see the 2 guards come in. They're dressed very finely. They almost look like nobles. You would recognize them as nobles. They are wearing fine rapiers at their sides. They come in the room, look around. I don't see anything. I must be just hearing the wind. And the other guy smacks him in the head. You're always hearing the wind. Come on, go back to our game. And then turns around, leaves the room, leaving you alone in the vault room again. Still with the vault next to you, but
So we've come in through the southwest corner, yeah?
yeah, you're at the bottom of the ground. You're basically bypassed all the security measures altogether.
Okay, how far is it up to the where we want the
Statue to be placed.
So
yes.
we kind of flash back for a moment, and we go to like a sky eye view of the blueprint. It goes bing, bing, and it binks you in the corner. And then where you want to go is up a set of stairs, so past that security room that's somewhere down the hall, up a set of stairs, and then down 2 hallways, and it's on your left-hand side, right in there.
Okay.
I don't think we should do that. I think we should grab the money from the vault and then get that out of there and then try and find another way in, because us trying to sneak through the security room, because there
We
were
have to go
other ways.
through or past the security room.
Past. It's like a corridor with there's like a little room basically.
What
Because
we could do is we take all the money out,
Yep.
make sure that's all squirreled away, and then we use the entryway that we've created as a distraction and sneak in another way. So we cause a big, loud noise and then have someone sneak through while they're all looking one way to then plant the statue. So, do the one job, but don't let them find out. And then when they do find out about that, that's when we sneak in and put the statue in.
Or it doesn't actually have to be like, because the guy would prefer it in the bedroom, but he says it doesn't have to be. So we could just take the money and then reseal the wall, but implant the object within the wall.
What level of the if we are in like sub basement 1, what level is a sort of a vaguely busy area?
Level 1 or 2. Just
Okay.
you have to go up, but it's quite deep. But yeah, it's like this place was designed to be like a bomb shelter almost.
Sure. How does flashbacking work? Sorry, Ryan, you had something. Go.
I just had a thought. I mean, the toilets go straight down into these sewers, right?
They do.
Also my plan, actually. Yeah. We'll haunt their bums.
You could haunt their bums. So in terms of flashbacks, you say what you want to flashback to,
Yeah.
and I assign a value of stress to that flashback. So for instance, it could be it's just a simple thing and it doesn't require any stress. It's like basically you contact somebody to be in a space. Sure, it doesn't cost you stress. If you contact somebody to be in a space and do something for you, it might cost you a coin, but no stress. If you're trying to set something up, that could be stress. and it might actually have a roll attached to it, depending on what you're trying to do.
Okay, my thought was to. I mean, the toilet idea is a strong contender, but my thought was to flash back to planning a route which utilized some of the crawl spaces and secret passageways, so as to avoid the populated areas as much as possible.
Okay.
And then try and crawl under the floor of the bedroom and just place it in the space between the floorboards and the stone.
Oh yeah, that's definitely doable. So what you do when you figure out this plan, this doesn't even require any stress. It's more like you just need to figure out, it's like, where do I need to go? So you know that if you can get somewhere, there's a specific room you need to get to first before you can get to the crawl spaces, because it's not accessible from the sewer side, but it is accessible from nearby one of the toilets, basically. So you know if you could just make your way through the sewers, double back around, pop up in the sewer, pop out of the room. There might be a couple guards or some people walking in that hallway. We'll see what happens when we get there.
Okay.
But the bigger problem is you've got a vault next to you and not exactly a good way in.
Okay.
Oh right, so we've not gotten into the vault itself.
No, the vault itself.
We're next to the vault door.
Right.
Yeah.
Come up just short, so.
Yeah.
I mean, how is the vault kept sealed?
So
like-
imagine like a big circular bank vault, like classic, stupidly large, with a big old like spinny thing, everything, the whole 9 yards.
So cutting the power wouldn't actually affect the ability to get in and out the vault.
Would it do so? It would certainly disable any electronic locks that existed. Would that be a thing? Sure. Actually, we can make a roll for this.
Okay.
There's two ways to do this. We can do a flashback, and you try to learn what vault they probably have, in which case that would either end up paying somebody off inside the red sashes, or conversely, it could be that you try and work out from who they bought the vault from, what things they purchased. The other option is to just have a look at the vault itself and go, ooh, I think I know what this kind of vault is. And that would be like either a study roll or a flashback. And those are the two kind of ways.
I'm leaning towards a study roll of the. Oh.
Sure. So you go up to this big vault door and you look at it and you begin to examine it, because you had like a list in your head of what kind of vaults it could be, and you're like, it could be one of these four kinds of vaults. If we're really lucky, it's this one, and we can take it out. And you begin studying. So just go ahead, roll me a study roll.
What's position? Is it risky or?
This is standard. It's
controlled.
Yeah, controlled. You're not in any danger. You're not in any threat currently.
So controlled standard, yes.
Yeah.
Can I take a stress to give you an extra dice?
So you're just kind of like aiding him, like showing him, like helping him, taking his tools and like.
Yeah. I'll be holding his things for him.
Yeah.
I'll hold the light for you just here.
Yeah. And he's got like a little list. He's kind of checking off little things that it could be. Nope, it's not that one. Nope, it's not that one. 6. Ooh, very good. You look at this thing. You're in luck. This is an electronically secured lock. If you can knock out the electronics, knock out the power. More importantly, this vault will crack open. Now, there is a thing with this. Looking at the electronics, it's going to be tricky to knock out just the power to the vault. So it's up to you as to whether or not you just want to knock out the power to everything, or just the vault.
Would the blueprints have also shown the power lines?
Yes. So you know where they are. In fact, you probably ran across them because they would have been in the sewers. You know exactly where they are.
This works out quite well, because if you're planning to knock all the power out, no one is going to be going for a crap while there's a power cut.
No.
While you are knocking the power out, going to be shitting up the toilet.
But the thing is, if we knock out the power to the entire building, though, they're going to know that the vault is no longer secure, most likely.
Yeah.
So that's where they're going to rush to. So we want to knock out the power to just
What-
the vault.
But what I could do is so using my dissolvey potion thing, I can create 2 types. One that will burn very quickly, so it will take out the vault. But I also have applied some to the main power line, but that burns a lot slower, so it gives us enough time to grab the gold, get out, and as we're
Well, there's quite a lot of it, though, isn't there?
yeah.
There's 12 coin. Each coin adds 1 load to each of you, so it's quite heavy.
Okay.
You may start to move a little slower.
So I think it's probably a good idea to take out the vault, get all the coin gone, and then we start doing part 2 of the plan. So don't apply it immediately.
Okay, so I will. Yeah. Okay, so I will attempt to burn through. So is that a rec roll or is that a tinker roll?
In this case, well, which do you think it is? Because it's your choice. Because wreck is like usually physically breaking something, whereas tinker is like, how good is your potion? How effective is it? Is it super great or is it not?
So I'm gonna go tinker.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna make it look like because the idea of this is that the cables have just eroded away.
Okay. Sure.
So yeah. So
Yeah.
right. So
And this
I've got
is
that.
for just the vault, isn't it?
just the vault.
That's what he's trying.
Yes.
That is my intention. What type of do I get to know what type of roll it is before?
Yes.
Okay, so what is this a risky one or?
I'm gonna say this is a risky one.
Yeah.
With standard effect because that's the usual standard one. So you
Okay.
take your potion, you pop it off, and then like as you pour it, like if this was cinematic, we would flash back to see you doing the thing. So make your roll.
Okay, I'm kind of because if I take out the entire power grid,
I will spend a stress.
yeah, I might do that as well, so that I'm rolling.
Yeah, sure.
This could very much be overkill, but you know, let's.
It could be.
There's no kill like overkill.
Oh.
Oh, the underkill as well.
So as we flash back to this moment of you brewing this potion up back at your base, everything seems to be going fine. You turn around for a moment, for the briefest of moment, and we see this rat just dive into your potion and just dissolve. And you turn back around to see nothing's there. It's fine. You pour the potion on, and as you drop the potion on, it dissolves it.
Is there
It
such
dissolves.
thing as a devil's bargain to...
There is. There is a devil's bargain, but I have to give you that before the results. I was going to introduce that a little bit later. I didn't think with 4 dice, the odds of a failure were low. It's like this isn't
Oh, hold on, because I'm the alchemist. When
yes,
you
you
invent
go up 1. You go
So-
up 1.
Okay.
so I can make that 3 into a 4, yes?
No, you make this. Yeah. So basically, the failure becomes a success with complications. So that's what I was going for.
Cool.
It was so the acid burns. You're like, oh, this is oh. It burns straight through the wire and the wire behind it and all of the other ones, and you are plunged into blackness as everything goes out. You hear a click as the vault magnetic locks open, and then you hear shouts from down the hallway as all of a sudden everyone is alerted and everything is going fucking crazy very quickly. The vault is open, but there's a lot of danger happening all of a sudden.
Okay, I have an idea. Can we flash back? Not
Sure.
not that far, but when we're in the vault room,
Sure.
can we flash back to having this could go horribly wrong, a tripwire on sort of because so you got left is the vault, right is that stairs going up,
Yep.
so not too far, but there's a tripwire on the stairs that if triggered will cause an explosion to have the ceiling come in and block that
Oh,
stairway.
Okay, sure. So I would think that would be a tinker roll for sure. So you basically flash back to this point where we watched your character kind of lean down and do this little tripwire, line it up along the wall, line up on the ceiling, click, 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 chunk, and put it in, and turn. And the other two are like, "Why are you doing that? It's fine. You're just going to knock out the one power. We'll be fine." And you turn and go, "Well, I'm a bit paranoid."
Can I say, it's you always want to hope for double sixes, but always be prepared for snake eyes.
Yeah, there you go. Sure.
Fine. So I'll take a stress to give you an extra dice, and I'll use, was it ghost sight or something, to be able to see where the wall is particularly weak.
Oh yeah, cool. Sure.
Oh, very nice. So is that a
So I'll
so
just blow smoke at
So-
the wall to highlight the.
You will take a stress for doing the flashback.
okay?
And it will be risky standard.
Risky standard, but +1 because you're helping me, Ryan.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Mhm.
Cool.
Critical
Critical
success.
success.
This is a perfectly done trap. There's no way anyone will ever see this, even in daylight. You do this so well, even in the most well lit of corridors. It is impossible to see. In fact, you probably have to grab one of them before they go a bit too far. Stop! It's right there. You kind of set this up.
And because it's a critical success, it also will completely seal it off.
Yes, it is now a great effect, so it will completely seal it off, leaving the vault completely isolated from you. As this happens, we flash back to the main scene. You hear the guards, because now they know something's happening, they immediately begun running towards you to check what's happening. Unless somebody wants to stop them, they hit the tripwire. There is an explosion of incredible magnitude, which you just hear, and the whole thing just caves in, crushing the two guards underneath. And then you hear a bell. Bing!
Ah.
Bing! Two chimes. You don't see the crows, obviously, because they're above.
Oopsie doodles.
Okay, so wrench open the vault door, grab the things, and run. I guess. Check the traps. Check the traps.
So hold on. So the ghostly beings that come to the ghost wardens that come to check that no ghosts are going to appear.
They're people.
They are people, so they don't have magical powers to move through walls.
They don't just teleport.
They might do, but they still have a time lag.
Okay.
Okay.
They just know there's been a death down here. So, they know there's a death in the area, and they go searching for it, essentially. So, because that's just general knowledge. You three of you, realizing, oh fuck, run into the vault, grab all the sacks of loot and money you can put under your arms.
You said there's 12 coin?
12 coin, which is basically like 12 sacks of coins. If you think about it, it's like about 400
12
silver.
load, then.
Yeah, it's 400 silver coins per sack. A huge amount of money. More money than any of you have ever seen in a single place. You grab it all and you begin hightailing it out the sewers. There's of course complications. You hear alarms going off above you, far above you, even in the sewers this deep, because the various things kind of breathed out. And your exit strategy, because you were hoping no one would ever know you were here, is a little screwed, because you were just going to come out on the street and just go away. That might not be an option anymore. So what are you doing instead?
May I flash back?
Sure.
Could I have secured a watercraft to be able to sail through the sewers away from pursuers and get to a secret dock underneath the city somewhere else?
So, the gondoliers hate the red sashes.
Yes,
and
I
are
do.
more than willing to help you for a coin. They want some compensation. They're not going to do this for free. But you could pay off a gondolier, and they know the secret entrances, the ways in and out of a sewer. So instead of you got to grab the other two, say, not this way, and turn around and go the other way down to one of like a waterway where the sewers empties out into the rivers.
Yeah.
You run down that way, head in, and there's a gondola waiting for you. You all jump into the gondola, throw all the coin on there. He's already been paid. We mark that off of your crew stuff. Where is it? This one. Mark that off the crew stuff. And the gondola takes you away into the night, into the dark. And you hear the sounds of alarms, the birds above, and you see these masked, just as you're kind of leaving, you see these masked people kind of moving into where the Red Sash's hideout is.
I've got a really evil idea of where to put the artifact.
Sure. What do you do?
It may be a different day, but where would they bury their dead?
So the dead are handled by the spirit wardens.
Okay.
And they are burned.
Right, okay.
For good reason.
So we can't just pop them under a headstone and every time they go and pay their respects, they...
So, they would have a memorial.
Yeah.
For anyone who died during their service for it. It would probably be in the Red Sash's base, though. Like a kind of a set, like a grand courtyard in the middle, and a couple of headstones are placed inside there at some point later. But for now,
I have an alternative idea, though.
Sure.
Again, a different day, but let's say that they're going to need to do some renovation works to try and shore up the building before it falls down. Presumably, there was more damage than throughout that entire tower. If someone goes in as a labourer, or we pay off a labourer to make sure that this gets put inside the wall that they then brick up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. In that case, if you're just going to do that, I would say you can just pay a coin to get that done for you.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy with
I'd
that.
say it's worth it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you let the heat die down, and then you hear about through your channels, through your back channels, you know which laborers are going to be doing the work for them. You pay off one of the laborers, and they go in a couple of days later and brick up this statue inside their own walls. And the laborer, actually, if you want to make, let's see where he puts it. That's what's going to matter.
Yeah.
You can use, how do you want to convince this laborer? Like, you're paying him already, but if he tries to stick his neck out a bit, how do you convince him? He goes, yeah, I can put it there. What? Yeah, I'll do it. Sure. Fine, you paying me? Oh, sure.
Well, of course we're paying you. We'll pay you good coin. But I'm wondering, what do you know about things that money can't buy? Experience. Something a little bit nicer than the usual fare. What's your favourite thing?
I like ponies.
You like ponies? As in, you like to see them run?
Kind of nods.
And you like to maybe place a little wager?
Nods. Yeah.
So, out of character, Ryan has no idea about horse racing.
Yeah, that's fine.
But maybe I can give him I can send you with my friend, Ricky McNobleman. I just called him Ricky. I didn't have a surname for him.
Yeah, Ricky, yeah.
I've got a noble friend who also enjoys the finer things. And he's an actual noble, even if his family isn't super happy with him a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But you could be a guest of a certain member of a certain family to enjoy the box.
To watch the ponies.
To watch the ponies.
I like that quite a lot. So, what do you think that role is?
That, I'm thinking, is possibly a sway role. Actually, or possibly consort.
Yeah, because it's relying on your contacts, yeah?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, I'll consort then.
Sure.
I'll add a point of stress.
Sure. 2 points.
Sorry, I'll add 2 points of stress.
Sure.
you want me to assist? It's a gambling-based roll.
Huh.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, if you're able to give him some tips on what to look for in the ponies.
That's
Yeah.
not. Yeah. Yes, I can do that. I'd.
What were you going to suggest?
Well, I was going to ask him if you're a gambling man, how much coin have we offered him?
A coin, basically, like a coin.
A bag of money.
Double
A
or
bag of
nothing?
money.
Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah. So obviously we.
I'm betting on a horse though.
So you're. What's the guy's name?
Oh,
My friend is
Steve.
Ricky. Oh, this goes.
No. The guy we're trying to convince.
my name's Steve.
Steve.
Steve
So-
likes the ponies.
Okay. So we'll let's offer him the box first. I've ticked the stress.
Okay,
And
Yeah.
you make the roll. Offer him the box first, right?
sure.
Okay, so what would you say this is? Controlled, risky.
Yeah, controlled risky because it's not you're not under any.
I mean,
danger
is
right
it
now.
controlled or is it risky?
Oh, so it's controlled.
A limited
Standard.
standard. Okay.
Yeah, controlled
And
standard.
because I've got for 2 stress, I get +1 dice. And Mike,
Mhm.
did you say you are?
Yes, I'm assisting you.
So that's plus
I'm
2
aware.
dice.
Yep. Partial success, so 5. Cool. So, yeah, I can do that for you. I can manage that. That's not a problem. So I'll put it somewhere. Where do you want it? Is that exactly you?
We want to enrich their lives. We wanted to enrich their daily lives, so somewhere it's a bit more visited than others.
Mess hall, the bedrooms, something like that.
But we're supposed to do some work in the garden, and that's kind of in the middle.
Nice and central.
No, nice and central. Yeah, I can do that for you.
Yes, as long as it's inside a solid, permanent structure.
Yeah, I can do that. I could do that easy. Yeah. I'll get that done for you. He takes the coin, he takes the statue, and he leaves. And we add a new clock.
As he's taking the coin, can I?
Can we say only half in advance?
Sure.
Well, as he's taking the coin, can I grab his arm and say, "You're a gambling man, are you?"
I am. But I only like the ponies.
Only the ponies. So no double or nothing then.
Yeah, you're trying to sway this guy. So yeah. Make a sway roll. Start with there.
Okay. Ooh. I'm not too fussed, so I'm not gonna spend any stress on that. That's
Okay.
just what sort is it? Controlled or risky or desperate?
Controlled desperate.
It can be controlled or
Oh, sorry.
desperate.
Sorry, I forget what these way around.
Des-
Desperate standard,
Desperate standard,
which gives you
okay.
an XP.
Oh, cool. Would that be in sway?
It would be in the box above it because it's on the stat block above it.
Ah,
So, like,
okay.
if you look on your character sheet, there's like a bunch of tick boxes. You tick one of those, and when you get 6, you can add a point into one of the stats.
Nice.
Ah, cunning, cool. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Sway,
Oh,
risky
I did
standard.
a desperate one earlier, didn't I?
You did?
Yes, you
Which one
did.
was that in?
Ooh.
Um, you
That was
a
that me doing the
tune.
ghost wall. A tune.
Yeah, it's
so,
a tune, yeah.
So I add in one of those ticks on the resolve, then do I?
yes.
Yes. No. So a partial success. Cool. So he goes, like, looks at you, and kind of goes, "All right, what do you mean exactly?"
So, heads, I'll give you another coin. Tails, I take that one away.
Okay. You've already swayed him, so yeah, he goes for it.
How are we?
So I would say this is a fortune roll. So we roll a d6,
Okay.
and you now, are you going to do this straight? As in, you're just basically flipping a coin and seeing what happens, or are you trying to do something else?
Literally just a straight roll for the pure love of the gambling.
Oh, okay. So take your experience for your vice, because this is
Oh.
definitely in that. And take roll a d6, and we'll say 1 to 3 he wins, 4 to 6 you win.
Could I make an attune roll to just nudge it?
Oh, you definitely can.
Does
I
stress
see.
go away at the end of sessions, by the way?
No, stress goes away. You have to indulge your vices to get rid of stress.
Okay.
Okay.
I have been spending it like water.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. So what we'll do instead is we'll use his attune rule to figure out where the dice landed.
Okay,
Okay.
so sorry, Mike, I didn't mean to step in there.
Oh no.
That's-
I
Presumably risky. What is it?
This is going to be a desperate one
Okay.
with great effect, because if you win, you win a lot.
I assume that you're attempting to sway it so that he wins.
I guess I'm Joshua is standing behind him, and you just see the shadows sort of gather around his face, and his eyes get a bit sunken. You can see he's doing something.
Cool.
Smoke is just going to have a galloping pony on the end, made of smoke on the end of his pipe as he watches the roll.
Really hope this goes well. Hey.
Okay, so partial success. Cool. So let's add another blocks to that.
So how did you want it to land, Jay?
Yeah. So how did you want it to land?
For us.
I assume, yeah.
Ah.
So see the coin flips in the air, and then there's just ever so slight odd nudge in the air. Now, Steve doesn't look like he's got all the lights on upstairs, but he seems to notice this. The coin lands for you guys. When I still get to see the police, and he hands you the coins back, but he just kind of looks like a bit grumbly. He takes the statue under his arm and he leaves. He just looks a bit grumbled.
Yeah. Well, he's just lost a lot of money, so.
He has lost a lot of money. And eventually you hear back from Steve that he has placed the statue in the garden, and you head back to the leader of
Can we do is there like an insight roll to find out if he's actually done it?
I was actually thinking, is there any way I could follow him to make sure he doesn't have it on the day when he's supposed to have?
He's got it on the way in, and he's not got it on the way out.
Okay. It's easy enough for you to do that. I'll just say, yeah, you do it. You basically verify that he had it on the way in, no longer has it on the way out. You made sure that he actually accomplished your goal. When you have a partial success, you succeed. Period.
Okay.
You pay a coin, you succeed. Period. There's no